This is Mr. Trotter. Welcome to Wednesday's lesson. Before we get started, a little rumor I heard. I bet you guys didn't know this, but apparently Mr.
We interrupt this lesson for today's important lesson objective. We interrupt this lesson for today's important lesson objective.
You did not hear that from me, yeah, pretty crazy rumor, huh? All right, so for today's lesson, we're starting with something not too bad. We're just going to kind of continue where we left off yesterday. Now we're going to be rounding larger numbers to the hundreds place. So I'm going to go start with 4,199. I'm going to write this out a little bit larger, 4,199. And I am looking at this number to the nearest hundreds place. So yesterday we were looking at tens place. We also talked about the hundreds place, so we know that the 1 is in the hundreds place for this one. So this 9 is in the ones place, this 9 is in the tens place, the 1 is in the hundreds place, and the 4 is going to be in our thousands place. So we're rounding this large number to the nearest hundred, which means we have to take a look at the 1, and then we look at the digit that is to the right of it. This 9 decides whether the 1 is going to go up or if it's going to stay the same. So since this is a 9, that falls on our larger end between 5 and 9. So that means this 9 says the 1 can go up. So that's going to change it to a 2. So if I've changed that to a 2, that means all the digits to the right. This time there are 2. Yesterday there was just 1. These two digits are going to become zeros. So now we're rounding to this nearest hundred. You can see our answer is going to end in 200. All the digits to the left of that hundreds place are going to stay exactly the same, which is going to be 4. So when we round 4,199 to the nearest hundred, that is going to be 4,200. So again, if we're entering this into Schoology, there will be no commas. We're just going to put it in as 4,200 without those commas. Let's go on to the next problem, but first, time for a bad joke of the day. When is a door not actually a door? When it's a jar. A jar means open. If it's open, a jar, yeah. I don't really know why I'm trying to explain these because they're just really bad jokes. So now I have the number 1,260 to the nearest hundreds place. So I'll write this out as my 1,260. I'm looking for the number that is the digit that is in the hundreds place. In that case, that is going to be my 2. So the 2 has the potential to change. The one that decides if it changes is going to be the 6. 6 falls in our second range. We have 0 to 4, and then we have 5 to 9. 6 ends in a 5, which means 6 falls in the category between 5 and 9, which means that that digit's going to go up. So our 2 is now going to go up. That becomes a 3. I then have to look at all the digits that to the right of that 3. They're going to become zeros. So I know right away my answer is going to end in 300. All the digits to the left of the hundreds place, they stay exactly the same. So I have an answer of 1,300. Again, no commas when we're putting them in Schoology. The last one is going to be one that you're going to try on your own. So why don't you try this one now? Rounding 8,506 to the nearest hundred. 8,506. I'm looking at the digit in the hundreds place. In that case, that is going to be a 5. That is not the number that decides if it goes up or if it stays the same, or if it goes up, it is the digit to the right. 0 falls into the second category, or the first category of 0 to 4, and then 5 to 9. 5 to 9, it would go up. 0 to 4 stays exactly the same. So that means this 5 stays exactly the same. And then I'm going to take all the digits to the right of this 5 and make those zeros. So my answer is going to end in 500. And to the left, all those digits stay exactly the same. So 8,500 would be your answer here. All right, one more type of problem to work with. There we go. Now we're going to be working on estimation. So there's a couple answers we have to do for each of these. So it looks like a lot, but it's actually not bad at all. And then that's all we're done for today. Not bad. All right, so Heather and Alan are trying to estimate this product. 4 times 64. So we have to answer the questions below, 3 parts. First part, Heather estimates this product by computing, or solving, 4 times 60. What is her estimate? So if I'm doing 4 times 60, I'm going to put my 60 first and then my 4 on the bottom. And 0 times 4 is going to be 0. 4 times 6 is 24. So the answer over here is going to be 240. Now we have Alan. He estimated by rounding to 64 up to a 70. So what is his estimate? So I'm going to have 70 times 4. 0 times 4 is 0. 7 times 4 is 28. So his estimate is 280. So the next part, you have to figure out who's closer to the estimate of 4 times 64. Is Heather's estimate closer? Is Alan's estimate closer? Or their estimates are equally close? Okay, so if we take a look at the two numbers, we started off with 64. Now we have to remember the first part of the lesson where I said if the number falls between, I'll put this over another color here, if it falls between 0 and 4, that number is going to stay the same. If it ends in 5 to 9, then it is going to go, we're going to round it up. So if I'm rounding 64 to the nearest tens place, since it ends in a 4, that 4 would say that the 6 is going to stay the same. So 4 times 60 is going to be our closer. Because Heather followed the rule and rounded it down to 60, her estimate would be closer. Because Alan did not, then his answer is not going to be closer. The only way their estimates would be equally close is if it ended in, say, 65. If there was a 5 there, then the answer would be equally close. So if we want to prove this even a bit further, I can say that since we do 64 times 4, we can solve it out the long way. 4 times 4 is going to be 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 6 is 24, plus the 1 is 256. So if I look at 256, is 240 closer to 256, or is 280 closer to 256? Well, 240, 256, those are the ones that are much closer, which is why we estimate by rounding or keep that digit the same instead of moving it up. So that proves that Heather's estimate is closer. Let's do one more problem like this, but before that, time for another bad joke. What's green, fuzzy, and if it falls from a tree, what hurts you? A pool table. It's true, it would hurt you. I don't know why it's up in a tree, but if it fell from a tree, it would hurt you. All right, so now we have Michael and Kayla. They're trying to estimate 4 times 82. So we're going to do the same thing last time. One of the person rounded down to 80, the other person rounded up to 90. So if I do 4 times 80, 80 times 4. Now I'm going to show you a little secret, a little tip for this one. If we're multiplying numbers that end in 0, we don't actually have to solve the entire thing. We can just put the 0 right down on the bottom and then just multiply 8 times 4 and put our answer down of 320, and we're done. It's a little bit easier than having to do 0 times 4 is 0. It's going to work out that way every time, no matter what we have here. So I have 320 up on the top. And then we're going to look at what Kayla did. She rounded up to 90. And if I have 4 times 9, I'm going to do that little shortcut here. 4 times 9 is 36. And I'll put that 0 back on the end, and I'm going to get 360. So Michael's estimating 320. Kayla's estimating 360. Now, if we're looking at the rules of rounding, we're going to round to the nearest tens place. That means we're looking at the 2. The 2 means that the number has to stay exactly the same. So we should be keeping this at 80. So therefore, Michael is going to be closer. And if I need to prove this, I can say 4 times 82. I'll write this out over here. 82 times 4. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 4 is 32. So 328 is the closer answer, and that is much closer to Michael's answer than it is Kayla's answer. All right, so I have one more problem. I'd like you guys to try that one on your own now. All right, and let's start going over our answer here. 7 times 73. If I'm going to round this and I look at that 3, I should be rounding this to a 70. So Greg, I think Greg is going to be correct. So I'm going to put here Greg's estimate is closer, and then I'll review that later. But if I do 7 times 7, I get 49. and I put the 0 afterwards, I have 490. If I look at 7 times 80, 7 times 8, that's 56. I put the 0 down at the end, I have 560. Now if I'm going to do the full math over here, 7 times 73, put the 73 up on top. Let's see who's closer. I still say it's going to be Greg. 3 times 7 is 21, so the 1 comes down, the 2 is on the top. 7 times 7 is 49, plus 2 is 51. So 511 is the correct answer. Is that closer to 490 or is it closer to 560? 560 is way too high. 490 is a little bit lower, but it's closer to the 511. So we are correct that Greg's estimate is going to be closer. All right, so you've got several problems to try like this for your assignment today. We'll call it homework. You got a week to get it done, but hopefully you're getting it done on Wednesday. The secret word to prove that you've watched today's video is going to be the word file. So make sure you put that in and you'll be good to go. If you have questions, reach out to me on Schoology. Send me a message. Stop by my office hours. Visit. It'd be nice to see you. If there are no other questions and you got nothing else to do, I'll see you tomorrow.